12th. Welcome on into Daily Cards Live here on ClaibsOnline.com, presented by Munganast, St. Louis Acura, and Royal Banks of Missouri. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Bob Ramsey. And Rammer, we're doing a post-game edition of the show today that just ended about 15 minutes ago. It was not Tyler O'Neill's day today.
Well, it really wasn't anybody on the club, but yeah, Tyler had some opportunities to drive in runs and didn't get it done. He's been really scuffling, and it's really a head scratcher how a guy goes from being your best player last year to now hitting under 200. And despite the RBIs that he accumulated in the month of April, May has been pretty ugly to Tyler O'Neill.
Yeah, it has. And yesterday we find out that over the weekend that they actually finished his arbitration hearing, which he lost out on about $1 million this year. He wanted about $4.5 million. They settled around $3.5 million. I know there's point whatever here and there. Those aren't the exact numbers for it, but he had said that was something that was weighing on him away from the ballpark, but it wasn't weighing on him in at bats. Now you can, you can listen to the guy say that and him being honest with the fact that he thought about it off the field, but it is hard, I would think, to go from, just walking into the locker room and being like, you know what? Okay, it's all done. Yeah. Clear your head from that. It's, we're all human. We know how we carry around things like that. So to just flip the switch, I think I was kind of hopeful that today we would see maybe the anti-game, the opposite of what we saw today, with all of that being lifted from him not having to worry about that, him knowing what 2022 is going to bring. And maybe he is still carrying a little of that with him. Maybe he's pissed off and it's, not working for him the same way you see other guys get pissed off and, play better.
Well, the other thing is, too, the Cardinals looked really good last night. Really good. Yeah. Had a big game. Today, kind of stinky. And so what does that tell you? They're probably a 500 team as currently constituted. And this is we could have played a recording of this show almost every year for the last 10 years probably. This is the way the Cardinals operate. And they'll continue to kind of plug along, see what they have, and make changes in June and July. But to the point of today, you had 10 base runners and only scored twice. That's not good enough.
Yeah. And you know what? And on top of that, though, yes, that's been the case for the last decade. But it's also been the case for the last decade that there has been one or two really bad, two or three maybe in most cases, really bad teams in the NL Central. And when you're playing those teams, yeah, you could be a 500 team on paper, but you're going to be above 500 when you get to beat up on the Pirates or the Reds when they're bad or the Cubs when they're bad. So when you get to do that, we know the Cardinal formula, the Cardinal way. We know how they're putting that team together. So yeah, an 81 team on paper, it kind of goes up a little bit when you do get to play the Reds and Pirates 15 times plus this year.
And so what are you saying? What's the bottom line to your point?
The bottom line is, yes, on paper, they are a 81-win team, but when you factor in how bad those other teams are, I say you add, 9-10 wins to that 81 and 81 and make yourself a 90.
Don't worry.
No, I think I do not think there is anything to worry about this team making the postseason. Sure, everybody would love to be in the Yankees' position right now and be 22-8 on the year, 17-3 in their last 20 games because they started off 5-5. That would be awesome. That would have, could you imagine the buzz right now with the Blues playing tonight and having a 22-8 Cardinal team? What's downtown St. Louis would be like on a day like today? It would be magical. But you know what? This team's gonna get their wins. They're gonna compile their wins. They're gonna be in a situation to make the postseason at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's where we disagree. If you don't change this roster, this roster is not a playoff team, but history tells us that they will change.
Yeah, and they've already have made those changes. Juan Yepez is your cleanup hitter now. I think that is very clear that they are going to find him at bats, whether he's DHing, whether he's in left, whether he's in right. They are finding ways to put him in the lineup with Albert Pujols too. Pujols is batting behind him, and we've seen that twice now, I believe, where Pujols is batted behind Yepez, where I think you look at them and you go, maybe they're both kind of the same guys, big big hard hitting first baseman types. How are we going to fit all those guys into the lineup? No, they're finding ways to work Juan Yepes into the lineup. We saw them send Paul DeJong down to AAA. How much patience do you have with Tyler O'Neill before that becomes a possibility with him?
You tell me. You're the 88 win guy with this roster. I don't know what you can do. I don't know how you go from best to worst. Although, and I want to go back and look at the numbers, O'Neill was swinging the bat better last spring, but he didn't have the big numbers until the summer really got going. So I want to compare that. But he's got to get out of that slump, or he's going to lose playing time because the Cardinals' offense is just not consistent enough the way it's going now. As far as Yepes goes, he's really exciting. He just missed a home run that would have won the game for the Cardinals. It couldn't have been by more than 3 feet. I mean, he hit a bomb and it just faded past the foul pole. So I'm excited about him too. Let's see what he does against the Giants.
Yeah, you've been talking about that all week now, about the fact that the Giants will get to see him again and how their pitchers will adjust to him now that there's a book on him. Heck, last night you saw that you and I were texting about it last night, that the Orioles manager kind of cost them. I wouldn't say cost them the game because they only scored 1 run, but it was really poor managing to not have somebody up and ready to go in the bullpen when you have Arenado and Goldschmidt coming up in the same inning,
Right.
and then letting those two guys beat you and then going to Yepes, to a reliever with Yepes coming up. But I think it is telling, though, that the Baltimore Orioles, who only have to look at the Cardinals for 3 games this year, only have to worry about them there, already had enough of a book on Juan Yepes to where they had him played perfectly up the middle for that ground out with 2 outs late in the game yesterday.
Yeah, they did do that right. But he stung the ball, hit it hard. He also had a base hit earlier on a very similar pitch and swing. And that goes to my point that teams will make adjustments and then the hitters have to adjust to that. And if he can adapt and if he can adjust, then we know we've got the real thing.
Steven Matz today goes 6 2/3 of an inning. Maybe just they tried to get him through that 7th inning, but he gave up the home run before they made way for Genesis Cabrera. But you know what, Steven Matz,
two of the Cabrera. If Cabrera does his job, Matz's numbers look way better.
Yeah, that's you have Steven Matz coming off I guess, is that considered a quality start today, what he did, or do you have to go 7 to get the quality start? Is it 6 or 7 for the quality start?
6.
But Miles Michaelis with a quality start yesterday. As you know what, it's more good than bad out of the rotation, which was the biggest question mark of the season so far.
Yeah, I think Matz is okay. He was decent today. He got no offensive help, and Cabrera blew it. Cabrera has not been good with inherited runners so far this year. I'm not down on him. That's just a point of fact. So using him in clean innings might be the way to go in the future. But, a handful of innings in a season, it's way too early to make any, sort of bottom line determinations on a guy.
So we sit here, and the Cardinals have a day and a half off before their next game tomorrow. The Giants coming into town for a weekend 3-game series.
Yep.
A lot of good giveaways, by the way. If you don't have your tickets yet, down to the ballpark, cardinals.com/promotions for those this weekend. The nice Cardinal performance hat with my favorite Cardinal logo on it, the circle logo from the 80s. I really like that logo. That the Cardinals throw out there every now and then. Then you have the purse on Saturday and the Ozzy Funko pop on Sunday. So lots of good giveaways this weekend. If you don't have your tickets now, go and get those. Again, cardinals.com/promotions for those.
And the other announcement is it appears Wainwright's going to start on Sunday.
Good. That's I know they moved. That's something we didn't mention. Steven Matz moved up, as you're talking about. Yepes facing the Giants for a second time this weekend. I don't think the Cardinals wanted Steven Matz to face the Giants for a second time after what they did to him last week. So you saw the change there.
I thought it was a good move.
Yeah. So Jordan Hicks, I would assume, gets the start tomorrow in in the first game for that series. So, Rammer, we'll have a full preview of that on tomorrow's show, along with a preview of all the other baseball going on this weekend when we are with you tomorrow afternoon on Daily Cards Live, presented by Munganast St. Louis Acura, and also Rammer, your friends at Royal Banks.
Royal Banks of Missouri, 314-212-1500. Royal Banks, what they've been saying for over 50 years, way over half a century. Royal Banks of Missouri, where better service means better banking. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
If you're watching this right now, either live or on YouTube later on today, you see Rammer and I. We did not coordinate on the blue.
Yes, we
today.
did. He called me. Hey, what are you wearing?
So check in tomorrow and see if Rammer and I match again on tomorrow's show right here each and every weekday on ClaimsOnline.com.
At St. Louis Acura, we have over 330 pre-owned vehicles of all makes and models, and all of them are covered by our St. Louis Acura Promise and backed by our Better Business Bureau A+ rating and 30 years in business. We also service all makes and models of vehicles, including glass and bumper repair, paint touch-ups, and full mechanical services from one of our 24 technicians. St. Louis Acura, better than ever for you, no matter what vehicle drives you.